right now, somewhere in an airport. A first-time traveler is watching a border officer slide their passport back across the desk and shake his head. Trip over. Thousands of dollars gone. Next flight home, and here's the brutal part, they didn't break a single rule on purpose. They missed one detail that almost never shows up on travel TikTok. A detail hiding on one page of their own passport. That detail is number 3 on this list. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to never be that person. But it's not the only trap waiting for first-timers. There are 5, and the first one hits before you even leave the arrivals hall. Hairs. Why this matters right now. More young Americans and Canadians are taking their first international trip than ever. Cheap flights, micro trips, remote work, all of it. But the internet only shows you the highlight reel. Golden beaches, perfect cafes, zero paperwork. Nobody films the boring stuff that actually decides whether your trip is incredible or a disaster. So consider this the anti-highlight reel. 5 things, ranked roughly from annoying to trip-ending, that no one tells first-timers. One promise before we start: no fluff. Every one of these is a real specific problem you can fix in under an hour, and it'll give you the fix each time. And stay for number 5, because it has nothing to do with documents or money. It blindsides almost everyone. Thing number 1, the moment you land, your phone might turn into a very expensive brick. Here's the scene. You walk off the plane, switch off airplane mode, and one of 2 things happens. Either you get nothing, no bars, no data, no way to call a ride or load a map in a country where you can't read the street signs. Or worse, you get a cheerful little text, "Welcome abroad, international roaming is about $10 a day." Or on some plans you're paying by the megabyte, which is how people come home from a 1-week trip to a phone bill in the hundreds. And it hits at the exact moment you're most vulnerable, jet-lagged, alone in a new country, trying to figure out where your hotel is. Almost every experienced traveler has a version of the story. Here is how you make sure you never do. The fix costs less than an airport sandwich. Before you fly, install an esim, a digital SIM you buy in an app, usually $5 to $20 for a week of data, working the second you land. Then download offline maps for your destination cities so navigation works with zero signal. Screenshot every reservation, hotel, flights, tickets. Because it's in my email means nothing when your email won't load. And get WhatsApp, because across most of the world, that's how hotels, guides, and drivers actually communicate. 1 hour of setup and problem 1 is gone forever. Problem 2 is sneakier though. It's hiding inside the payment machines themselves, and it's dressed up as a favor. Thing number 2, there's a completely legal trick waiting at almost every card terminal and ATM abroad. It's called dynamic currency conversion, and here's how it gets you. You tap your card, and the screen asks a friendly question. Would you like to pay in your home currency, in dollars? Your jet-lagged brain goes, dollars, familiar, safe. Yes. Wrong answer. The moment you pick dollars, the machine's operator sets the exchange rate, and that rate is routinely marked up somewhere in the range of 3 to 12%. On one coffee, that's pennies. Across a 2-week trip, hotels, meals, shopping, every cash withdrawal, it can quietly drain $100 or more, and you'll never see it itemized anywhere. The rule fits in one sentence: always pay in the local currency and let your own bank do the conversion. Same button, opposite outcome. And that's only half the money trap. The other half is your own bank. If it does know you're traveling, there's a real chance its fraud system sees a charge from another country and freezes your card. Usually at the worst possible moment, like a hotel check-in at midnight. So set a travel notice in your banking app and carry a backup card in a different bag. Check whether your card charges foreign transaction fees, that's a silent 3% on everything, and plenty of no-fee cards exist. And know that a lot of the world still runs on cash, markets, street food, small towns, even some restaurants in major cities. When you pull cash, use ATMs attached to actual banks and decline the conversion there too. Okay, phone handled, money handled. Now for the big one, number 3, the one from the start of this video. The one that ends trips at a border desk before they begin. Most people assume that if you have a passport and a plane ticket, you can go anywhere the ticket says. That assumption is wrong in 2 different ways. And either one can get you denied boarding, refused entry, or in the worst case, detained and put on a plane home. Here's the first way, and it's hiding in plain sight. Many countries, including huge for strict destinations like Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam, enforce what's known as the 6-month rule. Your passport has to stay valid for roughly 6 months beyond your arrival, or in some cases beyond your planned departure. Read that again, because it's genuinely counterintuitive. Your passport can be unexpired, valid for 4 more months, and still be treated as invalid for entry. And it usually doesn't even get caught at the border. It gets caught at check-in, where the airline denies you boarding because airlines get fined for flying in passengers a country won't accept. Some countries also want 1 or 2 completely blank pages for stamps. The fix is almost insultingly simple. Open your passport today, check the date, and if your trip falls within about 9 months of expiration, renew now. Renewals take weeks. Exact rules vary by country, so confirm your destination on an official government travel page. That's Way 1. Way 2 is newer, and it's catching more people every year. Here is what nobody tells Americans and Canadians. A powerful passport no longer means walk in anywhere. The world is quietly switching to electronic travel authorizations. Small online pre-approvals you need before you fly, even to countries that are technically visa-free. The UK now requires one for American and Canadian visitors. Europe's Schengen zone has been rolling out its own version, called ETIAS. Australia and New Zealand have required them for years. Brazil brought visas back for Americans and Canadians. Miss one and the airline can turn you away at the gate. Exact same mechanism as the passport rule. These things cost little and usually take minutes, but approval isn't always instant, so this is not a do-it-at-the-airport move. The rule: search your destination plus entry requirements on an official government site, not a blog, not a TikTok comment section, at least 2 weeks before you fly. And there is one more thing that can flag you at a border, even with perfect documents. It's what's inside your bag. This is the part that genuinely shocks people. Completely ordinary items from home are illegal in other countries. The famous example is Japan, which bans a range of common medications, including amphetamine-based ADHD meds like Adderall, and even some over-the-counter decongestants above certain limits. Bringing them in without the right authorization can mean detention, not just a confiscated bottle. Thailand bans vapes. Travelers have faced fines and even arrest over a device that's legal in every US state. Some countries restrict drones. Others take certain foods, plants, or prescription painkillers extremely seriously. The pattern to burn into your brain, "it's fine at home," means absolutely nothing at a border. If you take any prescription, check that country's embassy website. Some require a permit arranged weeks in advance, and rules change. 5 minutes of checking versus a border interrogation. Easiest trade of your life. Thing number 4 follows straight from that. Your rights don't board the plane with you. When you're in another country, you're under its laws, its norms, and its patience. And some of them are nothing like home. Depending on where you go, drinking in public can be a crime. Shorts and tank tops can get you barred from temples and churches. Photographing airports, bridges, or government buildings can get your phone searched. In some countries, insulting the monarchy or the state, even in a joke, even online, is prosecuted for real. And here's the part first-timers really don't want to hear. If you get in trouble, your embassy cannot get you out. They can visit you and hand you a list of lawyers. That's roughly it. A US or Canadian passport is a travel document, not a get-out-of-jail card. The fix isn't paranoia. It's 20 minutes reading your government's country page for local laws and customs, and then acting like a guest. Because that's what you are. And thing number 5. The one I promised has nothing to do with money or documents. Nobody tells you about the first night panic. It goes like this. You dreamed about this trip for months. Then you land, get to your room, sit on the bed, and a wave hits you out of nowhere. What have I done? Everything's unfamiliar. You're exhausted. Home is an ocean away, and part of your brain quietly suggests checking flights back. Here's what you need to know. This feeling is so common among first-time travelers, it's practically a rite of passage. And it's temporary. It's your nervous system recalibrating, amplified by jet lag, and for most people it lifts within a day or two. The fix: book your first night before you leave. Plan absolutely nothing for day 1 except a walk and a meal, and don't judge the trip, or yourself, for 48 hours. The traveler crying in a hostel bunk on night 1 is often the same person who doesn't want to come home 2 weeks later. Now the honest sketch, because after 12 minutes of warnings, this video could leave exactly the wrong impression. Here it is. The vast majority of first trips go completely fine. Millions of people fly out every year with half this knowledge and come home with nothing worse than a sunburn and a camera roll they'll defend forever. The point of this list isn't that travel is dangerous. It's that every single one of these 5 problems is cheap to prevent and expensive to ignore. And the entire prevention list fits into one afternoon: esim, offline maps, travel notice, passport date, entry requirements, medication check, country page. That's it. That's the whole tax. Anyone selling you more fear than that is farming your anxiety for clicks. And here is the bigger thing underneath all 5. The real dividing line isn't experienced travelers versus rookies. It's people who treat borders as a vibe versus people who treat them as a system. The vibe traveler assumes the world works like TikTok: show up, film, leave. The system traveler understands that international travel runs on rules that are boring, specific, and absolutely enforced, and that learning them takes one evening. Every horror story you've ever heard about a ruined first trip is almost always someone paying full price for a rule they could have learned for free. The best trips are boring at the border and wild everywhere else. That's the entire philosophy. Aim for that. So, back to that traveler at the border desk from the beginning. The one watching their trip die at a passport check. You now know exactly what happened to them, and exactly why it will never happen to you. Your phone will work the second you land. Your card will pull local currency like a local. Your passport has months to spare. Your authorization was approved 2 weeks ago. Your medications are cleared, you know whose house you're a guest in. And when the first night wave hits, you'll recognize it, write it out, and wake up on day 2 ready. That's the whole gap between a ruined first trip and a great one. About one afternoon of knowing. If this saved your future trip, subscribe. I make the travel videos that tell you what the highlight reels want every single week. And now that you know how to get into a country, let's talk about what to eat when you're there. Because I mapped every viral food you've seen on TikTok back to its real country. And it turns out most people are flying thousands of miles to eat the fake tourist version. The real ones? Different cities. Sometimes different countries. That video is on your screen right now. Go get hungry.